my loyal and intuitive Cancer friend. Hello and welcome. My name is Mina, and I'm here to offer you a 3-card reading exploring the themes of you, your path, and your potential. I invite you to consider what the reading reveals about possible challenges, opportunities, and personal growth for the week ahead. Take a deep breath, rest your mind, and let's see what the cards have to share with you today. Cancer, there's a feeling this week that something in your world isn't quite settled. Maybe you wake up with a sense that an answer is just out of reach, or you notice it in the way your mind circles around a conversation from days ago. There's a quiet tension beneath the surface, as if something important is waiting to be named but hasn't dared speak up yet. You might sense this in the hush of your own heart, in the small pauses between your words, or the way your body tenses before you even know why. It isn't drama and it isn't loud. It's more subtle than that, like the hush before a storm or the way the air feels before a change in weather. You know yourself well enough to notice when something doesn't add up, even if you can't quite put your finger on it. This is the kind of week where you might feel both exposed and hidden at once, drawn to look inward, but unsure what you'll find. The world around you continues at its usual pace, but you carry a secret sense that things are moving underneath the surface, quietly shifting. In this space, the card of the moon quietly rises. Its pale light doesn't reveal everything at once. Instead, it asks you to walk by intuition, even when clarity feels far away. You might notice yourself questioning your feelings, wondering which ones are real and which ones are echoes of old hurts. Sometimes, the very act of feeling deeply can stir up confusion, especially when emotions from different places overlap. There may be moments this week when you catch yourself doubting your instincts, as if the things you sense can't be trusted. Yet at the same time, you can't fully ignore them. This is not a crisis of faith, but a slow dance with uncertainty. You may feel unsettled, unsure whether to trust the impressions that come to you in dreams, memories, or passing thoughts. Something inside you wants to be understood, but it resists explanation. You hold a quiet wisdom in your chest, a sense that not everything is as it seems, and that your own responses are more layered than you first realized. This can feel lonely, and yet there's a strange comfort in knowing you are attuned to the subtle shifts in your own world. You might find yourself drawn to old photographs, familiar smells, or music that stirs up the past. These are not distractions, they are threads leading you back to yourself. The moon's light doesn't demand action. It simply asks that you notice what you feel, even if you can't name it yet. There's a tenderness in this kind of vulnerability, a willingness to sit with your own uncertainty. You may sense that the answers you seek won't come from outside, but from the quiet space you make for your own discomfort. In this inner landscape, intuition grows stronger, but so does self-doubt. You stand at the edge of your own awareness, not quite ready to leap, but not turning away either. This is a time of watching, listening, and letting your feelings unfold without rushing to resolve them. There is no need to force clarity. Instead, you can let the mystery be what it is, trusting that even confusion holds its own kind of truth. As this inner landscape takes shape, the path ahead starts to respond. What you feel inside doesn't stay contained. It finds its way into your choices, your interactions, the way you move through each day. The questions you carry start to color the opportunities that appear. You might notice a restlessness, a desire to close old chapters or reach for something new, even if you don't quite know what that is. The uncertainty you feel doesn't paralyze you. Instead, it nudges you to keep moving, to seek out new experiences, or to revisit old ones with fresh eyes. The tension inside creates a momentum outside, a pressure to reconcile what you sense with what you see. Sometimes this friction feels like impatience, sometimes like curiosity, but always it is movement, a gentle push to keep going, even if the destination isn't yet clear. This is where the world steps into your week. Its presence doesn't sweep away the uncertainty, but it does mark a moment of culmination. You may sense that something is coming full circle, that a cycle in your life is reaching its natural close. The pressures around you are real, obligations that can't be delayed, responsibilities you've taken on, or simply the weight of wanting to see something through. There's a momentum now, a sense that the pieces are falling into place, whether or not you feel ready. Sometimes, the world seems to ask more from you than you think you can give. You might find yourself balancing competing needs, your own desire for understanding and the demands of your environment. There is friction between what you feel and what needs to be done, between your longing for closure and the practical steps required to achieve it. Each day brings a fresh wave of tasks, conversations, or decisions that push you forward. Even celebration can feel bittersweet, as you realize that every ending is also a beginning. You may feel the urge to mark progress, to acknowledge how far you've come, even as you worry about what's next. The world doesn't promise an easy victory, it simply reveals that you are further along than you thought. The pressures you feel are not just obstacles, they are signs that you are moving, growing, and completing a story that has shaped you. There's a fullness here, a sense of being both at the end and the beginning at once. The outside world might not see your inner journey, but you know how much effort it has taken to arrive at this point. You may feel tired, relieved, or quietly proud. The friction isn't a sign of failure, it's a sign that you are alive to the changes happening within and around you. Each moment asks you to integrate what you have learned, to stand inside the story you have lived, and to allow the next chapter to begin. And yet, as the cycle turns, your true potential waits on the other side of conscious engagement. The path ahead doesn't simply unfold on its own, it responds to your willingness to meet it with awareness. If you move through your week on autopilot, the deeper shifts might remain hidden. But if you choose to notice the small changes, the subtle invitations, the way your own heart responds to each moment, then something new becomes possible. Your growth is not automatic. It depends on your willingness to be honest with yourself, to face the parts of your story that are still unfinished. The world can only meet you as fully as you are willing to meet yourself. Here, the card of 7 of Swords quietly offers its invitation. Growth this week doesn't come from grand gestures or dramatic leaps. It comes in the quiet moments when you notice what you're holding back, or where you might be tempted to hide a piece of yourself, even from your own awareness. Maybe you catch yourself downplaying your needs, or telling a story that isn't quite true just to keep the peace. The potential here is subtle but powerful. You can choose moment by moment to be more honest, even if it feels vulnerable. This isn't about confession or confrontation. It's about recognizing where you might be slipping into old habits of avoidance, or where you hesitate to claim what you truly want. The invitation is gentle, never forceful. You can try setting down the mask, even for a moment, and seeing what happens when you show up as you are. There is a quiet courage in this, one that doesn't need to be loud to be real. Growth is possible when you meet the week's uncertainty with a willingness to see yourself clearly, without judgment. The 7 of Swords does not promise that everything will be easy, but it does suggest that small acts of honesty can create space for new possibilities. In choosing to notice where you hide or where you hold back, you create a pathway to deeper trust, with yourself and quietly with others. This is not a demand but an open door. You can walk through it at your own pace, knowing that even the smallest steps matter. Looking back across the week, all 3 cards, the Moon, the World, and 7 of Swords, shape a story that is both personal and universal. You begin with uncertainty, with the quiet tension of feelings not yet named. This inner state gives rise to movement in your world, asking you to carry the weight of completion, to honor the cycles that are ending and the ones that are just beginning. The pressures you face are real, but they are not meant to break you. They are invitations to notice how much you've grown, to see the strength in your own resilience. And then, in the midst of all this, comes the invitation to honesty, not as a demand but as a possibility. Showing up with your whole self, even when it feels risky, is the real mark of growth. You don't need to have all the answers. You don't need to resolve every uncertainty. What matters is your willingness to be present with what is true for you right now. The moon's mystery, the world's fullness, and the Seven of Swords' invitation to honesty all weave together into a single living story. It is a story of becoming, not arriving. There is no need to force clarity or completion. You are allowed to move at your own pace, to honor your own rhythms, and to trust that each step, no matter how small, carries you forward. In this space, reassurance comes not from certainty, but from your own capacity to show up again and again for yourself. Whatever this week brings, you have already begun the work of meeting it with honesty and care. Actionable insights for Cancer this week. Let yourself pause before reacting to uneasy feelings. You could try speaking a small truth just for yourself when the moment feels tense. Notice what changes in your body when you let go of trying to have all the answers. Spoken word affirmations to repeat aloud for a more positive mindset. I notice what I am feeling without rushing. I am allowed to move through uncertainty slowly. My honesty is enough, even when I feel unsure. I trust myself to meet each moment as it comes. And now, dear friend, I thank you for giving me your time. I truly hope I have given you something helpful in return. Goodbye and good luck until next time.